It is accurate to assert that Indiana Fever head coach Christy Sides is not inclined to engage in discussions regarding the recent thoughts circulating among the fan base. "We can discuss championships in 3 or 4 years," Sides remarked to Yahoo Sports last summer, while still several months removed from winning the draft lottery and half a year before selecting exceptional talent Caitlin Clark. At that juncture, Aaliyah Boston, the Fever's first overall pick in 2023, had not yet been awarded her Rookie of the Year trophy. At that moment, the Fever were entrenched in the second year of general manager Lynn Dunn's 3-year strategy aimed at revitalizing a franchise that had languished at the bottom of the league for decades, a strategy that has now come to fruition in the current season. The Fever, 17-16, secured their first playoff spot since 2016 on Tuesday evening, ending the longest playoff drought in league history. They ascended to the number 6 seed over the weekend and are contending for positioning among the Seattle Storm, 20-13, and the Phoenix Mercury, 16-17, in the concluding 2 weeks of the season. As the league's most potent offense following the All-Star/Olympic break, and arguably its most notable franchise this season, with millions eagerly watching Clark, many fans are now contemplating championships. Indiana is experiencing a surge at the optimal moment, holding a 6-1 record since the break, alongside the league's highest offensive rating, 111.0, and average points scored, 91.4 ppg. Kelsey Mitchell and Clark have emerged as the most formidable backcourt partnership since the league resumed last month, ranking second, 25 ppg, and third, 24.5 ppg, in scoring, respectively. Lexie Hull has displayed a remarkable improvement, shooting 62.1% from beyond the arc during pivotal starting minutes, after having shot 28.1% prior to the break. The team leads the league in both three-point shooting percentage, 38.9, and successful three-point shots made, 11.1. The Liberty follow with 9.9 over the past month. This serves as the most evident indication that the Fever could compete with the elite teams during the playoffs. The team dynamics have significantly improved, presenting opponents with a markedly different configuration than what they encountered in the first half. Furthermore, the Fever have achieved victories against several of the league's top contenders, including New York, Minnesota, Connecticut, Seattle, and Phoenix. The only team they have yet to overcome this year is the reigning 2-time champion Las Vegas, though they have 2 additional opportunities to face them. Historically in the WNBA, champions have typically emerged as either a number 1 or number 2 seed. This trend is partly due to playoff formats that previously heavily favored the best teams through rest, and now continue to grant them advantages through home court benefits. This could also favor the Fever, who are likely to travel for the first 2 games of a 3-game first-round series but have had their road games well attended by Fever and Clark supporters. Chicago's break from tradition. In 2021, the Chicago Sky deviated from the conventional expectation that top seeds invariably secure the championship when they clinch their first and only title as a 500 team during the regular season, emerging from a number 6 seed to defeat the number 5 Phoenix Mercury. This season coincided with the Olympics and marked Candace Parker's inaugural year with Chicago. Notably, no Sky players were included in the Team USA 5x5 roster, which allowed the team to engage in practice sessions in the United States, similar to the arrangements made for the 2024 Fever. The Fever are recognized as one of the league's fastest teams, currently ranking 4th overall in pace, and have demonstrated a heightened tempo since the midway point of the season compared to other teams in playoff contention. This rapid style of play would likely make 4-time champion Sue Bird hesitant to face Indiana if she were still active in the league. Insights from Sue Bird. In my experience within the WNBA, the pace of play outweighs physicality, Bird articulated on her podcast A Touch More. It surpasses size, and can even outstrip experience, as oftentimes, being experienced is a euphemism for being a veteran, which inherently suggests you are older. Bird remarked that the Seattle Storm's guiding principle during their championship victories in 2018 and 2020 was encapsulated in the phrase pace, 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 pace. I observe in Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell a relentless drive, Bird stated. Their intensity is formidable, making it exceedingly challenging for opponents. It can leave adversaries disoriented. This brand of play, while remarkably effective, does not represent an outlier. Clark's proficiency in executing full-court passes during transitions and her ability to maneuver the ball past multiple defenders in the paint facilitated Iowa's progression to consecutive national title games, a feat previously unattained by the program. The Hawkeyes consistently ranked within the top 15 in pace during both seasons and maintained a ranking of 26th or better throughout all 4 seasons of Clark's collegiate tenure. The complexity of pace in championship contention. Nonetheless, pace alone does not serve as the definitive metric for identifying a wnba champion. The Las Vegas Aces have ranked among the top 3 in pace for the past 7 seasons, having finished second in this category last season, while the runner-up New York also claimed the 5th position. The Aces held the top rank in 2022, while the Fever, aiming for optimal lottery positions, secured 2nd place. Although Bird's Seattle teams emphasized pace, they often found themselves in the latter half of the standings for pace in the league. While an emphasis on youth can provide an advantage, it has historically proven insufficient to propel a team. A journey to the finals would represent a significant milestone for Clark and her teammates. Only 2 players selected as number 1 overall picks have reached the finals in their rookie seasons. Tina Thompson, the first overall pick in 1997, played for the Houston Comets during their inaugural championship run, and Maya Moore won the 2011 title with Minnesota in her first year post-draft. Currently, 5 teams remain ahead of the Fever in the standings, and the majority present stronger cases as title contenders. New York has retained all 5 starters and enhanced its bench to pursue the franchise's first WNBA championship. The Liberty have emerged as the most consistent team, showcasing the best offensive performance and maintaining winning momentum throughout the season, even with starters sidelined due to injuries. Indiana has a record of 1-3 against New York, with all 3 defeats occurring within the season's initial month, including 2 within the first week. Minnesota, 24-9, boasts the leading defensive rating and excellence in 3-point shooting, guided by a seasoned veteran roster. The Lynx experienced setbacks in the absence of MVP candidate Nafisa Collier before the All-Star break, but have resumed winning with the league's top record, 7-1, post-break. Head coach Cheryl Reeve, a 3-time Coach of the Year, has successfully steered the Lynx to 4 championships within 7 years during the 2010s. Indiana holds a 1-1 record against Minnesota, with a final encounter scheduled for Friday in Indianapolis. Connecticut, 24-9, has remained on the verge of its first championship for a significant portion of the last decade and fortified its roster ahead of the break by acquiring 3-point shooter Marina Mabrey. The Sun maintained the second-best net rating following the Liberty. Indiana's record stands at 1-3 against the Sun, with all 3 losses similarly occurring within the initial month, 2 of which transpired within the first week. Seattle is in its inaugural season of establishing a super team, incorporating former champion Nneka Okwuemeke and all-star point guard Skylar Diggins-Smith to augment Lloyd and Ezzie McGregor, a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. Following the mid-season break, the Storm experienced a dip, recording one of the poorest performances in the league over the past month. However, they have reintroduced Olympic silver medalist Gabby Williams to their roster. The Indiana Fever stands with a 1-3 record against Seattle, with all 3 defeats occurring prior to June 27. In Las Vegas, the situation, 20-12, is, admittedly, more turbulent than usual. Nevertheless, the Aces remain 2-time defending champions, propelled by an exceptional MVP in Asia Wilson, who continues to lead the same starting 5 that secured 2 championship titles. They should not be underestimated and currently top the league in pace. Indiana faced setbacks in road games against Las Vegas in May and early July. However, the Fever will host the Aces at their home ground on September 11th and 13th. Should the season conclude on Wednesday morning, the Fever would secure the number 6 seed, advancing to Minnesota for the initial 2 matches of a best-of-3 first-round playoff series. While there are several favorable elements for the Fever during this atypical Olympic year season, it is evident that coach sides may require a few additional years before aiming for championship contention. Additionally, Caitlin Clark supports another women's professional sports team in Indianapolis. Clark and her partner, Butler basketball assistant coach Connor McCaffrey, enjoyed a prime viewing experience on Thursday night as the Indy Ignite faced off against Grand Rapids. The Indiana Fever standout has deeply engaged with the community, attending games for Butler, the Indiana Pacers, a Taylor Swift concert, among other events. This month, the Ignite commenced its Pro Volleyball Federation season with a sellout match at the Fishers Event Center. Following an extraordinary season for the Indiana Fever led by WNBA rookie phenomenon Caitlin Clark, Pacer Sports and AMP Entertainment announced plans to initiate construction on a $78 million sports performance center, designated exclusively for the Fever in downtown Indianapolis. Up until now, the Fever have practiced and trained in a designated court within Gainbridge Arena. The Fever will continue to compete at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. However, the newly designed facility will be the primary resource for various needs of Indiana's athletes, staff, and front office. This center will comprise 2 full-sized practice courts, a strength and conditioning area, a fully equipped kitchen, and a wellness area featuring massage services, a sauna, a heat studio, and several hydrotherapy pools. The facility will span 3 stories and encompass 108,000 square feet, housing a Fever team store and providing experiences for Fever supporters. With the aim of establishing Indianapolis as the hub for women's sports, this state-of-the-art sports performance facility will serve as the premier location for athletes to train, rehabilitate, and challenge their limits, stated PS and AMP CEO Mel Raines. This facility is a pivotal advancement in offering an unparalleled player experience, and we eagerly anticipate our team benefiting from having a unique and exceptional venue designed specifically for them. The Fever is among a growing roster of WNBA franchises that have either established or announced intentions to construct a center exclusively for their WNBA teams. In March 2022, the Las Vegas Aces relocated to a headquarters spanning 50,000 square feet, and in April 2024, the Seattle Storm unveiled their Center for Basketball Performance, a 50,000 square foot